I wish to meet my brothers. Ya Rasulullah, who are your brothers? We are your brothers. We're right here. No, you are my companions. I wish to meet my brothers and sisters that will come later on. They will never have seen me. They will never have seen me, but yet they will believe in me. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Jazakumullah khair, brother Will, for that beautiful introduction. I'm not worthy of it, but it's always an honor to be here and be part of this community. I've always felt this community is like home to me, is home for me, because you have many of your elders like Dr. Ijaz Chaudhry and Amir Mustafa, Imam Mustafa Al-Turk. When I was a kid, they were my elders. They were my mentors. I used to look at them as examples, and they used to debate Islam back and forth. So when I see them and I see this masjid, I always think about my past and how I was a kid. And it always reminds me of like a sense of home. So I appreciate that. And again, thank you so much for having me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward each and every one of you guys, although I'm not worthy of it. And so the topic of today in this conference that I was given is that the prophetic leadership and how the Prophet exemplified, how he was exemplified as a leader, and what can we learn from his leadership. And before we get into that, first we need to talk about leadership and how important it is. And that one of the blessings of this topic is that it gives you a reality check of who you are as a person. Each and every one of us has leadership qualities or is a leader in some way, in some shape or form. Not everybody is a speaker, but then you have leaders that are outside in the community doing other types of leadership activities. So one of the things that leadership does is that it makes you become honest with yourself. It makes you honest with yourself. And an example of this, the Prophet ﷺ, he was very honest, right? And he would tell Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu al-Ghifari, right? He was from the tribe of Ghifar, one of the greatest companions. And he would say, Abu Dharr, you should never lead a group more than 2 or 3. Very honest. Because he is not that type of a leader. And so the Prophet ﷺ would teach us to be very honest. And it's a reality check. Not all of us are going to be leaders, but each and every one of us is a leader in our homes. Right? We are leaders in our homes. We are leaders with our families in some shape or form. Women are leaders with their kids and their community and their friends. Men are leaders of the home, of the household, in some shape or form in the community, etc., etc., etc. So part of leadership is very important, is allowing others to lead. Okay, allowing others to lead. So we created you in communities. We created you in communities to work together. And sometimes that entails, as Imam Mikhail probably mentioned, is that you have to allow other people to lead. So it allows us, leadership in general, this topic, allows us to understand our own strengths, our own weaknesses, okay, and our own capabilities. So this is a very serious topic. And leadership skills, how we are and what skills we have will translate into the people around us, okay? And how we deal with others. And perhaps they may uplift people. And we may begin to have sincere conversations about ourselves, about our communities, about the change that we need to bring. And so, as a result of leadership, we may make bad decisions and we may make good decisions. We may make good decisions and we may make bad decisions, and these will affect people around us, our communities, in a positive or negative way. And how did the Prophet ﷺ do this? How did he do this? Very important. And I know this is a Sirah conference, right? I'm not going to go into his life, but I'm going to try to highlight part of his life on how and what qualities made him the greatest leader ever to live. In fact, Michael Hart, why did he, this Christian historian, right? Why did he, and very religious man, why did he name Prophet Muhammad as number 1, the most influential person in the history of mankind? And many people spoke against him. They said, why didn't you put Jesus? And in fact, he put Paul before Jesus, right? Why? And he answered, Muhammad was a leader. Jesus wasn't a leader, alayhi salatu wasalam. And so one of the beautiful things about the Prophet was, he was in every aspect of his life. He was a father, he was a husband, he was a leader of his community, he was a nephew, he was you name it. The Prophet lived that role. He lived that role. So number one, and there are many, everybody has their own opinion on what it means to be a great leader. But from the life of the Prophet ﷺ and from extracting in today's time what entrepreneurs, what leaders of today's time say what it means to be a leader, what they teach you at leadership conferences. So I kind of mixed a little bit of all of that together, and we came up with some qualities of what it means to be a leader derived from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Number one, a leader has a clear purpose in life. Number one, you have a goal. You have a mission. The Prophet ﷺ knew his mission. يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر وثيابك فطهر والرجز فهجر. Right? The one in the garment. Raise up and warn the people. إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا. Right? That you were sent as a person who gives glad tidings to people. We sent you with good and glad tidings to give the people good news and to warn them. He had a clear purpose in life. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was spreading the message of Islam to the Quraysh in the Meccan period, right? We all know the story, right? What happens after so long and they tried so hard to bring Muhammad ﷺ down? Finally, the tribes and the uncles of the Prophet come and say, okay, Ya Muhammad, what do you want? Do you want money? Do you want women? What is it that you want? One day we worship our God, next day we worship your God. 1 year your God, 1 year our God. What do you want? Make a deal with us. And he says, oh my uncle, for wallahi, if they give me the sun in my right hand and they give me the moon in my left hand, I will never give up this message. So he had a clear purpose in life. And not only did he have a clear purpose in life, and that was what? To spread the message of Islam, and that he was sent as a وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, to bring mercy upon those Arab people. Imagine, in order to understand this, you have to understand who the Arabs were. They were very jahil people, burying their women alive, dead, their daughters. Worshipping idols, cheating people, incest, drinking, adultery, you name it. They were very terrible people. And he was sent to these people. And he had a clear purpose in life. To remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to warn them. Even later on when the salah came on the Prophet ﷺ, he had to remind himself of this purpose. How? When he used to wake up in the morning, what did he do? When he went to sleep, what did he do? He reminded himself of what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he woke up, he would do what? Alhamdulillah, alladhi ahyana ba'da. I wake up by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave me life and death. He would wake up praising Allah, and then what he would do? Go do wudu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, reminding himself, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Then what would he do? He would pray 2 rak'ah, right? 2 rak'ah. Does anybody know what surahs he would recite in those 2 rak'ah? Every fajr, 2 rak'ah, the sunnah of fajr, which is wajib, you have to read it. You have to pray it. If you miss it, you should make it up. He would recite 2 surahs. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدُ. I will not worship what you worship, and you shall not worship what I worship. To you is your deen, and to mine is our deen. Number one, reminder of his purpose. Number two, what was the second surah? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say he is Allah, the one and only. Allahu samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan. Look at this reminder, it's so beautiful. If you just contemplate on this. And every morning he would remind himself of this. Every morning he recited these 2 surahs and these 2 sunnahs. And whenever he would pray sunnah in general, he would love to recite these 2 surahs. It isn't by design, my brothers and sisters. So number one, having a clear purpose in life. Number two, in order to be a leader, the Prophet ﷺ not only had a clear purpose, but then how is he going to relate to the community? You have to understand your community's challenges. Number two, the Prophet ﷺ understood the challenges that his community was going through. Every leader must analyze and must understand what his people, what his community are going through, what her community, what her people, what her children, what her family is going through. If you don't understand what problems your community is going through, how will you even be a good leader? How will you change the masses? How will you affect people? You won't. You won't be able to. Rasulullah ﷺ understood this. No Arab is greater than a non-Arab. No white is greater than a black. No black is greater than a white. Challenging racism. Challenging women's rights. Women have their rights. They have the right to vote. They have the right to divorce. They have the right to their wealth. They have this right, that right. Look at the Prophet saying, challenging alcohol. SubhanAllah, he understood. Even the Sahaba, they would ridicule the beloved Sahabi, I forgot his name, but he would drink alcohol and they would ridicule him. The Rasul said, no. For Wallahi, he still loves Allah. Yuhibbullah wa Rasul. He still loves Allah and the Rasul even though he drinks. She drinks. What are we like? Do we understand the challenges our youth are going to? Backbiting, racism, boyfriend, girlfriend, the community challenges, Da'wat al-Islam, educating ourselves. Are we understanding what our challenges? How can you be a leader when you don't know the problem? Slavery of that time. The Prophet abolished slavery, right? The Prophet came to abolish this concept of slavery. That everyone is a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He would sit on the floor and he would sit on his right knee and lift his left knee up and he would eat with his hands. And when they asked him, Ya Rasulullah, why do you sit like this? I am a slave of Allah. We're all slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but nobody has the right to oppress anyone. And so he understood the challenges of his people. How do we understand the challenges of our people? Are we relating to our people? Are we understanding what challenges we're going to? And that's very important to be a leader. And we learned that from the Prophet ﷺ. He didn't talk about anything. When he would give khutbah, he would address the people's issues. He would address what's in their heart, the diseases of the heart. Yeah? He would address these issues. Not talk about issues that don't relate. He didn't do this. You don't find this. He didn't talk about issues that something's happening over in Pakistan or Bangladesh or whatever, where have you. But he would talk about what's happening right now. What's happening right now. So, number one, having a clear purpose. Number two, understanding the challenges your community is going through. Number three, he loved people. And he was concerned about them. He had concern for people. Okay? He loved people. And as a leader, in order to be, look at what Allah said, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةً مِّنَ اللَّهِ لَنْتَنَ لَهُمْ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. We gave you a character that is very merciful, very positive. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظًا. If you had a heart that was harsh, or you were a person that was negative, if you were a person who didn't love people, they would have run away from you, Ya Muhammad. The Sahaba would run away from you. So you have to love people. You have to have mercy in your heart. You have to have natural mercy. No matter what this person or what this person has done to you, the Rasul ﷺ would cry for the disbelievers, people who didn't believe, people, and even people who were Ahlul Kitab, who the Prophet cried for these people. Ummati, ummati, these are people from my ummah. He would cry for them. Why? Because he would imagine them facing Allah's punishment. Look at that love that he had, the concern that he had for people. And the example that I gave, look at the concern he had for an alcoholic. How many of us know people that sin and we treat them harshly? They have a disease, they have a problem, sure. No, that's not right, that's true. But how do we deal with them? Look at the Prophet dealing with an alcoholic. He says, for Allah, he still loves Allah and His Rasul, leave him be kind to him. He was always concerned about people. And you cannot be a leader unless you love what you do. And you cannot be a leader unless you love your people. When he enters Medina, تُطْعِمُ الطَّعَامِ أَفْشُ السَّلَامِ. People that you know and people that you don't know. What happened? What did he do? How do you get to the people's hearts? How do you love people? Feed them. He enters Medina, the first command he gives, feed the people. And spread the salam. Spread the salam. Love each other. How will you love each other? You will not be true believers until you love one another. And you will not love one another until you spread the salam. Until you greet each other. Get to know each other. And people you know, and look at the wisdom. People you don't know. Look at the Prophet ﷺ telling us to get out of your bubble. Get out of your bubble. Go meet new people. Go meet people. Don't live in your bubble. This is not what Islam promoted. This is not why Arafat is called Arafat. Arafat is called Arafat so you get to know one another. Arafat means Araftu, so you get to know. Allah created us to get to know one another, so you have to have love. Look at Bilal radiallahu anhu. How concerned he was for he was, Habash, he was a black slave. And the Prophet loved him so much. And he was so concerned for him. He raised him to another level. Ya Bilal, arihnaha ya Bilal. Give the adhan, ya Bilal. Allah gave him the honor of standing on the Kaaba and giving the adhan for the Muslims. He loved Bilal. Every Sahabi, when they talk about Rasulullah, they say, Wallahi, he loved us more than anyone. This is how they felt. And he would go, Ya Rasulullah, one of the Sahabi, he tested this. He said, Ya Rasulullah, who do you love? Who do you love the most? He said, Aisha. No. Who do you love amongst the men, Ya Rasulullah? Her father. Right? They thought that he was going to say him. He thought he was going to say him. So, where are we as leaders? Do we love people? Do we love them for the sake of Allah? Do we have mercy on them not because of their sin, but because of who they are? Ibn Adam, they're from the children of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. So, we cannot be a leader unless we're concerned for people. And that doesn't mean being concerned only just for your own people. Syrians are only concerned for Syrians. African Americans only concerned for African Americans. Whites only concerned for whites. Pakistanis only concerned for some Indian content. Bengalis only concerned with Bengalis. No. We have to be concerned about Burma. We have to be concerned about Palestine. We have to be concerned about America. We have to be concerned about South America. We have to be concerned about all the Muslims all over the world. You have to have the concern. This is not the Rasulullah had concern for you and he didn't even know you. For I wish to meet my brothers. Ya Rasulullah, who are your brothers? We are your brothers. We're right here. No, you are my companions. I wish to meet my brothers and sisters that will come later on. They will never have seen me. They will never have seen me, but yet they will believe in me. Ummati, ummati. Every prophet reserved their dua, took their dua, qabul. Every prophet had a dua, a prayer that was accepted in their life. The Rasul ﷺ reserved his dua for Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the day of judgment, for you and I. And he reserved it for us. Ummati, ummah. On the day of judgment, he will ask Allah, Ya Allah, this is from my ummah. Forgive them, Ya Allah. He reserved that dua for us. Look at the concern. He was concerned for us. In today's time, we can't even be concerned for each other. So, number 4, strategy. To be an effective leader, the Rasul ﷺ taught us that you have to strategize. You have to have a plan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about planning. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan. Allah planned. So you have to have a plan in order to be an effective leader. The Prophet would always plan. And not only would he plan, but he would consult his companions. You can't just plan, even though you might have the right plan. But sometimes you should do shura. You should consult. You should have other opinions, maybe other perspectives. Maybe one may be better than the other. The Prophet would ask the Sahaba for their opinions in Badr, in Uhud, in Khandaq. Salman al-Farsi said, I got an idea. Let's dig a trench. So as a leader, you have to have strategy. You have to have a plan. And then you can't, if you don't have a plan, then you seek people who have that plan, who can bring a plan to make those goals possible. So you have to have strategy. The Prophet ﷺ, for example, when he was planning for the hijrah, he planned, right? He left Ali radiallahu back, that they thought maybe it's Ali. And what did he do with Ali? He said, return their belongings. Right? He had a plan. And what was his plan? We're not going to go north, we're going to go south, the Ghar Thawr. And we'll hide in this cave for a few days. We'll erase our footprints, right? The bird came, the spider came. He had a plan. He sent, before this hijrah, he had a plan. Let me send some people to Negus, King Negus, in Habash. Let me send some people over here. Let me send some people, Sahaba, over here. He had a plan. He was always thinking and strategizing. Number 5, he built relations. He built relationships. He imagine who he's going to. He's going to a people who are very tribal. Right? The Yemenis know the tribalism. Huh? Very tribal people. They don't listen to anybody. But he tried to build relations. How? Through marriage, through business deals, right? And so we as Muslims, we have to build relationships as well. You can't just survive and be a leader if you don't have relationships with different groups of people in a halal way. So the Prophet ﷺ, he affected the community beyond just his bubble. He used to reach out to other people and build relationships. A Bengali should build relationship with Pakistani. I know they hate Pakistani, I don't know why. You know, I asked them, but 2 of my best friends are Bengali. And they, for some reason, just don't like Pakistanis. And Pakistanis, I mean, I was raised Pakistani, but The war, I understand that, but we're not in that war. But my point, I'm trying to relate to you guys. My point being, you gotta build relationships. This life is too short. Why? Why are you talking about things that happened tens and hundreds of years ago? Your kids don't know this. And what are you teaching them? What are you teaching? Is this what you're teaching them? Don't build relationships, just stay with your people? Subhanallah. Subhanallah. You have to build relationships. And I'm sorry, I'm a guest speaker, so I can say these things and then just leave. 6, you have to choose the right people for the right job. The Rasul was mahir in this. He was an expert in this. You have Khalid, the Rasul said, Ya Allah, bless Islam with the conversion of Umar radiallahu anhu. Or, and so, another person, right? Look at how he tried to choose the right people for the job. He understood that if Umar became Muslim, Islam would get strong. He chose Osama to lead the army. Even though he was only 16, 17, just a kid. And you had Sahaba like Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman radiallahu anhum and Ali radiallahu anhu. But he chose Osama to lead the army. He prayed Khalid bin Walid, Ya Khalid, what is preventing you from becoming Muslim? For verily we will honor you, Ya Khalid. Become Muslim and we will honor you more than you're honored now. And then Khalid became Muslim. And he led armies after armies. One of the greatest generals ever to live in history. So the Prophet ﷺ, he chose Ali to leave him behind as his representative when he was doing hijrah. He knew which people to choose what. He knew they wouldn't kill Ali because he's the son of Abu Talib, one of the chiefs. Look at the strategy. Look at this. He chose Abu Bakr to be his companion on the hijrah. Why? Look at this. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu was very influential. Abu Bakr Siddiq he loved him. Look at the Prophet would rest in his lap in Ghar Thawr, in the cave of Thawr. And Abu Bakr is just worried about keeping the harm away, the scorpions and the animals that are poisonous. And he got bit. And the Prophet then put his beautiful spit. He woke up and said, Abu Bakr, why didn't you tell me? Then he put his beautiful spit, made a dua, and then it worked. Yeah. So then, what happened? He chose Abu Bakr, and when before he's entering Medina, imagine this. They look so much similar. Okay, they're entering Medina. They look so similar that the people thought Abu Bakr was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they started surrounding him. Rasul allowed it to happen sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He went and he sat down, he took rest. And he allowed it to happen because he understood. And Abu Bakr Siddiq he just kept looking at Rasulullah. Worried about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He allowed it to happen because he wanted Rasulullah to take rest. He had a long journey, he wanted him to take rest. So it wasn't until what? The sun began to shine on the forehead of the Prophet ﷺ. He ran over, covered the beautiful forehead of the Prophet ﷺ. Then they realized, oh, that is the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knew who to choose, which people to pick. He knew where to stay, the Ansari's house. He knew how to deal with people. And so it's an art. Knowing who are leaders in our community, choosing the right person. The Imam might not be the best person to lead the community. He might just be the best person to lead the Salah. But we have to have that foresight that, there's somebody else who can be a better leader at this project, at maybe this project. Maybe we have this sister to lead this project. You have to pick the right people for the right job. It doesn't mean just because you have an imam or the president of the center or this and that or youth director that they are the best people for that particular job. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us from his seerah. That sometimes you step back and you let others lead. And you help decide and you pick those people. Ya Mu'adh, وَلَا تُؤَثِّرُوا Subhanallah. يَسِّرُوا وَلَا تُؤَثِّرُوا بَشِّرُوا وَلَا تُنَفِّرُوا. He chose Mu'adh to lead the people. And he told Mu'adh, be easy on the people. Don't be harsh on them. And give good glad tidings. Don't give them bad news. So look at this, how he knew who to choose. Salman al-Farsi al-Khandaq, so I mentioned this. So you have to choose the right person. Number 1, he had a clear purpose in life. Number 2, he understood the community's challenges. Number 3, he had love for people and he had legit concern for people. He would strategize and he had a plan for everything. He would always try to come up with a plan for everything. He would try to build relationships. and he would try to choose the right people for the right job. And then he had the ability to encourage and to nurture those from amongst his people. He would delegate people. The Prophet ﷺ would motivate them. Every nation has an extremely trustworthy man, and he would encourage the Sahaba. He would encourage them and bring out the best in them. A true leader brings out the best in people. A true leader brings out the best in people and gives them hope and positivity. كَانَ يُحِبُّ الْفَعْلَ. Rasulullah, he loved optimism. He loved being positive. He loved bringing out the good within other people. And that's the reality of life. That's the reality of life. Imagine this. If we only nitpick the bad qualities that we have. Right? Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. He only looks at your bad qualities. Is that fair? Wallahi, ask yourselves. If Allah wanted how many sins we commit every day, how many mistakes we do, and Allah on the day of judgment, He says, you did this, and you did that, you did this. Can you ever make up for it? No. But it is that Allah is looking for something positive within you to remove you from that punishment. If a prostitute can give a thirsty animal some water and be forgiven, is this not positivity? Is this not, if a man kills 99 people and he's on this way to mercy, right? He's going to get mercy. He wants to repent. Then he kills 100 person. And then he still wants to repent. And on his way, Allah says, this man is forgiven. They measure, the angels fight. No, Jahannam, no, Jannah. And they measure. He was on his way to forgiveness. So forgive him. Isn't Allah looking at the positivity? Is He not looking at what's positive in you? On the day of judgment, Allah is going to look at each and every one of you. And He's going to scan you and He's going to say, what is something good about this person that they did that I can use? Look at salah. You didn't complete your fard salah? Okay, do sunnah salah. Any sunnah salah angels? No sunnah salah? Is it nawafil? Tarawih? Tahajjud? Anything? Positivity. So you have to have positivity, you have to have hope, you have to encourage people. Don't discourage people. Look at Mu'adh. The Rasul said, Ya Mu'adh. Yes, give good glad tidings to people. Don't give them bad news every time. Don't always talk about negative. And be easy with the people. Don't always be hard on the people. People will run away from you. Ya Rasulullah, if you were harsh, if you were hard, they would run away from you. Encourage people. And then at the same time, be prepared to take criticisms. As a leader, you have to be able to take criticism. The Prophet ﷺ took it like a champ. عَبَسَ وَتَوَلَّى أَنْ جَاءَهُ الْأَعْمَى. Maybe if I give da'wah to these chiefs of Mecca, maybe they'll become Muslim and they'll have influence. A blind man comes. Ya Rasulullah, teach me. A blind man comes and the Rasul turns away from you. Ya Rasul, عَبَسَ وَتَوَلَّى. Why did you turn away from the one who wants to learn? And then you're trying to focus on those who aren't going to change. It is Allah who changes the hearts. So be prepared to be criticized. Take good criticism, take bad criticism. Take it like a champ. Don't get upset. Everybody means, hopefully, inshallah, we all mean well for each other. But in order to be a good leader and in order to grow, in order to become better, you have to take criticisms. Wallahi, I'm going to give you a true, I'm just telling you, I'm not like, I've been giving khutbah since I was like in middle school. Anyway, I've been giving khutbah for a while. Then when I came to Unity Center, Imam Musa, may Allah have mercy upon him, he was looking for a khatib. He didn't know anybody. I just moved back to the community, and I was happened to be there. He's like, anybody can give khutbah? I was like, yeah, Imam, if you need help, I can help. No problem. So I thought I was all right. I thought I'll give khutbah. Inshallah, it'll be good. Sadaqah jariyah, whatever. So I gave khutbah afterwards. Man. These Arab Syrian, right? This is the Syrian Arabs. These guys, and they got businesses and they're business people. Man, they're knocking me down. So what kind of khutbah was that? You think you know what you're talking about? And he just listed every point, just hit me hard. And it hurt, but I took it. And I said, SubhanAllah, nobody's ever given me criticisms like this. SubhanAllah. You don't have people like this anymore. Oh, he's Mufti Rabbani. Oh, he's Sheikh Ali Layla. Oh, we can't give him advice. The Rasulullah said, Umar bin Khattab would come to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Rasulullah, I disagree with you. Don't tell the people that whoever has iman in their heart, even a mustard seed, that they will enter Jannah. For I fear that they will stop doing good deeds. This is a promise of Allah, that whoever has iman in their heart, even the size of a mustard seed, that they will enter Jannah. And Umar bin Khattab saying, Ya Rasul, I disagree with you. Don't tell the people. You have to have people that will criticize you so you can improve, so you can get better, so you can seek advice to get better, so then you can help your community, right? So you can help others become better. You won't know your flaws. Nobody's thinking about that. That's one of the dangers of the diseases of the heart. One of the most dangerous things about the heart is not knowing what diseases you have, right? That's one of the most greatest diseases of the heart. You don't know what diseases you have. That's why you build relationships and you have people who counsel you and that you're able to take that criticism. The Prophet took the criticism and the Sahaba would take criticisms like a champ. So I'll end there, inshallah. I think that's good. I think my time is running out too. So number 1, clear purpose in life. Number 2, understanding the challenges your community is going through. Number 3, loving people and being concerned. Number 4, strategizing. Number 5, building relationships. Number 6, choosing the right person. Number 7, having the ability to encourage and nurture people and to give them hope and positivity. Number 8, being prepared to take criticisms. Being prepared to take criticisms. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to embody the qualities of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to allow us to be leaders in our own way, in our own household, in our own families, in our own communities. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy upon us, to increase our love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to drink from his beautiful hands on the day of judgment and allow us to be with him on the day of judgment. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh.